Hey folks, I want to say right here, if anyone was living in Myrtle Beach at the time of 2008 and 2009, I'm pretty sure most of you people might remember this park. It was literally in our backyard. Not literally, but it was about 10 minutes, but you know what I mean. I want to go ahead and talk about this very short-lived park. I don't want to make like a whole, probably a separate video on just like really being specific on like where was where, what was what, like, you know what I mean? This video is just gonna be just mostly on the experience that I had of a very short-lived park. I mean, oh my God. I mean, we're talking about just 2 years of this park being existent, and now it's just gone. It's all rubble. They had the remainings of all that, the remainings of the park and stuff. I don't know why they took them so long just to bulldoze the whole thing. I mean, if anyone remembered the old mall over there, it was a defunct mall, and there's a medieval times. Like, if anyone knows the Myrtle Beach area, there's medieval times. There's like this big hotel, and I want to say that was a pretty sleazy area over there. I want to tell you right now. I would, I don't want to be, I don't want to be, I really don't want to be judgmental here, but I suggest to stay away from, I mean, if you want to visit Myrtle Beach, I mean, it was fine and whatever. And, I think definitely by the recession of 2008, which of course, this is when this park opened, things had definitely weren't the same. I mean, so much stuff had just been gone, had been destroyed from hurricanes. I mean, there was a wonderful, beautiful theater. It was called I forgot this theater was called, but it was a really nice theater. Then one of the hurricanes, I was living there at the time when these millions of hurricanes came by, you know. And normally it would be around September, October, whatever. But it chipped off one of the, side of the buildings. And unfortunately, they had to tear it down. It was such a nice theater. But they still have the Alabama Theater. That's a little bit far into North Myrtle Beach. But I want to go ahead and get right into it here. And I found a couple of things. I really was looking for a lot of, literally, I was trying to look for a lot of stuff from, because my dad had kept so much stuff, memorabilia, in fact, and many, many different stuff, merchandise, from Hard Rock Park. And we managed to actually do a hard hat tour during the time that they were building it, or not just building it, but just getting right until like it was almost finished. You see, this park was opened in May of 2008, and this was the first phase of the park, if you will. And this was actually something I found. I found a couple of things, This is one of them that I found. It was a little small goodie bag of Hard Rock Park. Gosh, if you don't remember this time period, oh my God, you were missing out big time. This was absolutely one of those parks that was so damn creative. Yeah, sure, you had Hard Rock Cafe. I just want to say that it's kind of a shame of where they put it. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of put it in a really bad area. I mean, if you pass by that area, as part of the whole 501 thing, the road or whatever, it's a darn shame that it's like right there with all the really bad stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Then there's like the other end, there's like a Bob Evans and, whatever, whatnot, golf course. I mean, there's millions of golf courses over there. They call it the golf capital. Shut up. Well, then that I don't care, but, but it was really, they literally built this park in a really very sketchy area, But oh my God, this park was this was like it came and it went. Literally, the blink of my eye, it was there, and the next moment it was gone. So let me talk about Hard Rock Park here. Once again, it was opened in 2008. announced the park, if you will. They announced that they were going to have a new theme park. It was based on music and whatever, in 2006. They had a preview building, which you can go in and you can preview some of the areas and stuff that they had, because when you're in the park, first of all, it's really neat that kind of has different sections, and it really reminds me a lot of the World Showcase in Epcot, where you have the different countries and stuff, which is really, really just spot on. The areas that they had was Rock and Roll Heaven, and it was very themed, like a beach kind of, if you will, and it was absolutely great. They had a little small water park, which was really neat. Then they had this area called it was some sort of psychedelic area. It was some sort of psychedelic land. It was a little short thing. You go through a bridge and you're passing this big, gigantic roller coaster, which I'll kind of explain in a minute. And then you go to this British invasion area. It felt like you're there. You felt like you're in the whole Mersey Beat area. You feel like you're there during that time. They were so, oh my God, very, very, just everything was on point. It was so great. There's a freaking dark ride, specifically on the Moody Blues of their song Nights in White Satin. I mean, oh my freaking God. Oh my God, what a bunch of numbskulls when they decided to just get rid of this whole park. I mean, just crazy. Then there's this other land, which was mostly basically on kids, and they had the banana splits. And I think they bought they bought some rights to the banana splits characters and stuff, and it was fun. It was fun. It was almost like a stage show thing. Then they had little they had little kitty rides, which was really, really just, Then they had this rock climbing. They really went all out. Then this roller coaster, they had this little small roller coaster. It was based on the song from Bill Haley and his Comets, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. It was a small little, whatever, junior size coaster. And they had this really cool restaurant, or it was like a sit down thing. And it was called, it reminded me of a Mel's Diner, kind of, if you will, It had that 50-esque feel, which was cool. And they had this other restaurant, it was really cool. It was based on, Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant, which is really cool. It was really, really nice. And then there was another area which was so cool. It's like this building that was kind of between of all that stuff, And it was almost like a ball pit, like a ball kind of thing. I don't know. I vaguely kind of remember it. It was like these gun shooting. It was absolutely just insane. But then you go into this hallway, and it's like these walls of just like album covers. It was called Lost in the 70s. And every single album from the 70s had to be like on that wall. It was absolutely just brilliant of what they did. I remember that so well. I was just like, oh wow, at that time too, it was really amazing of that time when that just that right time that when they built that, right then and there, I just finished elementary school. I was really getting into real music. I mean, I always talk about this all the time. I apologize. I was getting into the Doors, Led Zeppelin, and it was perfect. Just perfect timing when that park was built, My brother, believe it or not, they had a really nice big gift shop right in front of the park, and my brother bought his very first electric guitar in that gift shop. But anyways, so it was so great of what they did, of that Lost in the 70s. That was great. So right after that, you go into this country, it was kind of mostly just loosely based on, the rodeo country feel, And they had this really great roller coaster. It was called Life in the Fast Lane, which of course was based on the Eagles song. And you see, when you go on that roller coaster, they're playing Life in the... Oh my God, just like, how creative is that? Just so great. Now, originally it was going to be called... They already had a name for it already before they called Life in the Fast Lane. It was based on the Greg Allman song, which of course was the Midnight Rambler, or not Midnight... Midnight Rider. Midnight Rider. And it was so great. That roller, I don't know how many times we rode that roller. It was fantastic. And there was also another thing. It was like a rotating. There was another ride where it was almost like a teacup kind of ride, and they had different and these different lands too. They would have different games and stuff you can do, like win prizes. And of course, there's millions of gift shops too as well. Um, but right in front of the park, or right before you enter, there's this big gate that says Hard Rock Park. Absolutely, just oh my god, I felt like you were entering to another world, if you will. It's so, oh my god, it was so, oh, I don't know. Then right smack in the middle is this big gigantic guitar. It says Hard Rock Park in the middle of a lagoon. This absolutely great. And of course there was coffee shop. It was a coffee shop, and everything was so perfectly. It was perfectly just detailed with everything that they did in that park. Just great. And, they had nighttime shows and stuff. It was great. But by the time of the end of the summer of 2008, they got bankrupt, unfortunately, and they weren't able to use that name Hard Rock Park anymore. So in early 2009, I remember they had a special on TV about the behind the scenes of how they built Hard Rock Park, some sort of local station or whatever. And so early in that year, they announced the Freestyle Music Park. And this was the second phase of the Hard Rock Park. So they had to get anything Hard Rock Park. They had to get rid of that name or whatever. So this was actually this was I don't know if I still have, or my dad, or I don't know if I still have my annual pass. But we also had an annual pass for Hard Rock Park. But this is what it looked like. This was sort of like a, what I mean, just a pass to get into the park, if you want to keep going there all the time, which of course we did. And there's my beautiful mom right there. There's my mom right there. This had to be 2009, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah. Valid through December 31st. And who knew? Because the park closed officially before that date. So what they had to do is literally retheme everything, retheme the lands and stuff. And what a shame. What a darn shame. Because I feel like Hard Rock Park, oh my God. And by the way, I want to mention about the big roller coaster. It was dedicated to Led Zeppelin. It was called, I think it was just called the Zeppelin roller coaster or whatever. And they played Whole Lotta Love. And my dad rode it. He rode that roller coaster. And he was blown away. I mean, those sound like sometimes they were kind of out of sync, or they wouldn't. For example, that Eagles roller coaster, there were some issues with it, the audio, whatever. But I remember we watched that roller coaster. It was so great, but the end, you know what I mean. So Freestyle Music Park was open the very next year, the very next summer of 2009. And they closed it just around the time that they also closed Hard Rock Park. So it was like the late summer. I didn't really think they didn't change as much, but they added a couple of things, And unfortunately, they couldn't name the roller coaster after the bands and all that. They had to kind of make some generic kind of thing. I think the roller coaster, they ended up retheming it to a decades kind of thing, where they have the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or whatever. And you enter through one of the doors that, whatever you were desired to go into, whichever decade. And of course you would have, I don't know, either an 80s, 90s, whatever, song or whatever. I never rode that roller coaster, but they also had another really cool ride. It was called Slippery When Wet. It was based on Bon Jovi, that album. It was almost like a water thing. It was almost like a gliding kind of ride, one of those hanging things. That was fun. I felt like that. I felt like the park was very, very much trying to be like Epcot or Disney, at least. They were trying to be on the level of Disney. But it's a shame. It was very much a shame of those 2 years. Those are magical times when that park, when that park existed. And unfortunately, it didn't last that long. They had millions of lawsuits, I believe, and I think the guy, the owners, they had to bail out. And that was that. And they kind of left it abandoned. And there's millions of videos you can check out of people visiting or kind of sneaking, if you will, to the parks. And I heard just early in the year they demolished. They literally just gone everything. There's no existence of anything in that area. It's a shame. The thing about it, I was living, because yeah, I used to live in Myrtle Beach, or excuse me, I was born and raised in Jersey, but I spent pretty much the majority of my whole life living in Myrtle Beach. We moved there in early 2004 into 2017. So think about it, it was between then and there, between 2004 and 2017, that was 13 years. I went to elementary school, went to middle school and high school there. And yeah, and of course, right in that period of time there, 2008, 2009, I was just entering middle school. So I was kind of entering a new phase of my life, and I was, discovering music, and, my brother was learning how to play guitar, and they had a really big gift shop. I mean, I don't want to be, I'll make another video. I'll tell you right now, I'll make another video just describing, how they had things. But for my experience there, that was probably one of the best things that they ever had, and it's very unfortunate that they tore it down, and it was very short lived. But I really loved Hard Rock Park, that era, that first phase of the park. It was so great. It was very creative. It felt like you were just in that land, like the British invasion, like I mentioned. They had a carousel. It was really great. They had a mob. They had a Mersey beat band sometimes that they would play. And there was also tribute bands as well. I remember one time they had a Zeppelin and a Rolling Stone. I don't know. They were freaking fantastic. They had a that Rolling Stones tribute band was so freaking great, fantastic. Whoever that guy that did Mick Jagger, absolute was 100% just like him. I remember that they played Honky Tonk Woman. I think they played Can't Get No. It was just freaking fantastic. So, unfortunately, Myrtle Beach isn't the same anymore. I heard it's kind of dangerous now, and it's been 5 years now since I've been living in Florida. It's been great. I feel like I feel a little bit more 100% really, really satisfied more than what I was living at the time over in South Carolina. But great. So yeah, folks, let me know. Let me know if you were living in Myrtle Beach at that time and that you just remembered that park being smack in the middle of a really just, really, really shady part. If it was built maybe somewhere else, it'd be another story, but it was just one of those great times, magical times. And I wish they would bring that park back. But unfortunately, it's just part of memories, right? All right, folks. See you then. See you, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.